to Life Under the Laundry Pile, airing it all out, one conversation at a time. This is Copper.
This is Heather.
And we are the ladies that you listen to every week. That doesn't change.
This week's extra special, though.
Well, we're always
You're looking
special.
at me like crazy.
We're always special, but
We
yes,
are.
this week is extra special.
It is. It is. We had a big landmark this week for
Yes,
us,
we
anyway.
did. It's a number that we've been looking forward to for a long time. It's totally tiny. Don't think like we're superstars or anything. Trust me.
We'll
if you
get
saw
there.
other numbers, you'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you? But for us, this is a big number. So
Yes,
go ahead and share it.
It is. Well, do you want me to share the number that we're at now or the number that
Well,
we
let's
hit?
share what our goal is and then share what we are now.
We hit 1,000, which is
1,000 downloads.
Yeah.
That's 1,000 times you guys have clicked play for us.
all over the world. So
Yeah.
that is amazing.
Yes.
I told my husband, I said, it's kind of crazy when you sit back and you realize that people all over the world, we've
Have
talked
listened to
about
you,
this,
right.
are listening to us. It's crazy.
It is.
But we actually went above and beyond that. So as of today, we have 1107.
Yes.
Which is, peanuts in the big scheme of things. But to
not for us.
No. We're just two housewives sitting in a room
Really crappy office.
in the
Yeah.
suburbs talking shit. So.
Right. And the thing is, the exciting thing besides that number is the fact that the momentum of those numbers
Is going up.
is
now.
really kicking
Yeah,
into high gear.
absolutely.
So I don't think it will take us nearly as long to get to 2,000.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's amazing. And
Hopefully
just
not, if you guys keep listening.
Thank
it
you
will.
so much. You guys are great,
Right.
So, and you know how you can help us.
Yes.
Tell them how.
Well, why are you putting that on
This
me?
is like a game show.
This is where we pimp ourselves out.
What's that old guy on The Price is Right?
Bob Barker.
Take it away.
New to your pets, people.
Spay and neuter.
Spay and neuter your pets. And while you're in the waiting room waiting for them to come back out, what you can do is there's lots of things you can do. And I always hate this advertisement part of it. But if you can follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram.
Share with your friends
Share
and tell
with
them
your
how
friends,
great we are.
Right. If you are listening to us on iTunes or iHeartRadio or Stitcher, there are areas there where you can leave reviews for us, and some of it's as easy as just clicking on the stars and sometimes leaving a comment. That stuff goes a long way. And I know that it's a lot of effort, and I don't normally like to ask people this, but it makes a huge difference for us.
Yeah.
Because the more you participate, the more visible we are to other people.
Yeah, it helps us move up the list.
Right.
I don't know if any of you are really like huge podcasters or not, huge podcast fans, I should say. But if you enter a search term in Stitcher, for example, if you search just parenting, there are about 4,500 podcasts.
Yes.
So it is easy for us to get lost in the shuffle, and there is something called a new and notable or new and noteworthy. I can't remember which one.
Well,
it is.
our opportunity to be on that
iTunes
list is
or
gone.
Stitchers.
That's within the first 90 days.
Okay.
90 days, I believe.
But
Don't quote me on that. But there's other lists. Yeah.
Yes,
So.
and it would be amazing. Top movers, I
Right.
think. Top.
And really, just the participation itself moves you up the
Yes.
visibility wise. So, it's not a must, but we really would appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. And who knows if we hit a huge number, maybe we'll have some kind of, listener
Celebration.
party.
Yeah. And we have some big goals for the next year. Now that we've really, we've gotten into a pattern here, we really love doing this. You guys like listening to it. We want to do things with this, this project, our little office project. So, but we need your help to do that.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Begging is over. Now,
Please.
we now return to our regular
Please.
podcast episode.
Okay, that's it. I won't beg anymore. Do we want to, while we're asking you to do things, let's talk about our project for December while we're at it.
Right.
We're working on a episode that's going to be pretty big, and it's kind of fun. For so many people, the holiday season, although we love it, it becomes very much not a burden. That's not the word I want to use. It gets really stressful because there's so much you have to do. We are working on a list of what our favorite things are during this season. It doesn't have to be things that are in your Christmas list, but it can be if you have I must have this new coffee pot. What do people ask for Christmas?
I don't know.
I'm not even sure what to even ask for. So, but like, what are your stress relievers? Your favorite movies, your music, your decorations? Do you like going to get a pedicure right before, everything kind of hits the fan?
Think of us as the Oprah of podcasting. We want to.
You're not getting these things.
Our episode is just going to showcase a few of our favorite things.
And we would like your opinion on, what is yours as well.
Yeah, so just drop us a line and tell us, what your favorite things are during the holidays.
Yes,
whether
please.
or not they're material or, mental, spiritual, whatever it is you like to do. So, anyway. So, yeah, that's our December
I'll
project.
give you a hint, like a little preview. I obsessively listen to Christmas music.
Oh, I do too. I've already started watching Hallmark.
It doesn't get old to me.
Yeah, me neither.
And we just saw it there. I'm like, I need some Christmas music. It cheers me up instantly. I could hear it in July and be like, yay!
I agree. I listened to it yesterday while I put my Christmas tree
Yeah.
up. But never fear, the lights, of course, that I dug out of the bin
Don't work.
Didn't work, so it's just the naked tree sitting in the corner.
Good news.
But it's okay.
We plan to go shopping later this
That's
week.
right.
So,
We'll get them. We'll hit when we hit home. At
home.
I was gonna say home talk. Lord, I've been So.
So let's step back a bit from getting ready for Christmas and talk about Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
How was Halloween for you?
It was good. It was good. The kids actually got really tired pretty quickly. I was surprised. We filled up our bags super fast this year.
Right.
I know, like last year, we walked the whole entire neighborhood, and we have like 400 houses. I mean, I was exhausted, and their bags still weren't full.
Right.
This year, everyone really stepped up the game.
I know I put a crap load of candy in their bags. So
yeah, I know, right? Thanks.
by the time you came to my house, I was done with being outside. So I'm like, here, guys.
I think we were home by what? Oh my gosh. I venture to say 7:38.
Yeah.
Something like that. Crazy. But yeah. So it was all right. It was all right.
The weather was much better than last year. Last year it was rainy.
Absolutely. And Halloween used to be hands down my favorite holiday. But I think, ironically enough, as the kids get older, it kind of takes backseat to Christmas for me.
Right.
I think because now that I've realized I have to walk the damn neighborhood with kids, I'm just like, no, this is not as much fun as it used to be.
Well, I was coming off of, I literally just got off the plane because I was in Florida that weekend. So we came home and we had dinner and we had our friend Carrie B and her little boy over to have dinner with us and walk around. And he ended up not feeling good, so they went home. But I started walking around, and then my feet were just killing me from being at the conference. I mean, like, they were messed up. I was an idiot and wore new shoes to this conference. So I'm like, I quit. Like, four houses down, I'm like, I'll be back at the house. I dragged a chair out, opened up a beer, and sat in my driveway and passed out candy while Matt walked the kids around, because I'm like, I just couldn't do it. So...
Well, and you're lucky because Matt was here, but
right.
Lloyd obviously travels, so I didn't really have an option.
I was lucky he was here this year, so.
Because I do not enjoy walking around with the kids. I really don't.
Sometimes in the past, when he has been home, that has been his job, was that, I do enjoy it. I like seeing the other little kids. I like talking to the neighbors, but I know I'm more extroverted than you are.
Yeah.
So, but this year I just I can't. I didn't even want to. I was beat from the weekend.
Yeah.
It was a great weekend, but I was beat. I was tired.
Yeah. So how was the conference?
So, for anyone that doesn't know, it was my first conference since I started this little adventure. It was Type A Parent, which
for
is
blogging.
for blogging.
Not for
which
podcast.
Actually I ended up dealing a lot with the podcast too while I was there. I even pimped you out a little bit. So, it was fun. I had a really good time. I learned a lot. I met with a lot of brands, which was really cool. So there's a lot of potential there. Mm-hmm. My favorite part was meeting other bloggers, though. The connections I made that weekend was really awesome. So I met some really awesome ladies and gentlemen.
Did you meet any super uber famous bloggers that you totally girl crushed on?
Yeah. To me, they're all famous.
I know, but the one time that I saw my litter at the movie theater, and I was just like, oh my God, I know her, I know you. I totally fangirled.
I did, and I met a lot of women that I've been following, a couple of them for several years, so that was really impressive, and I try not to geek out too much to be like, oh my God, I know you. I did this one, pardon me, this one blogger, and she does a couple of different things, but the one thing that she does, she's very personal about her life and her adoption of her daughter and everything, who has struggled a lot. By far, one of the coolest kids I've never met her personally, but knowing her through this blog, like, she's an awesome kid. And I actually sat next to her the first night they had, at one of the restaurants on site, they had kind of a meetup. And I just happened to sit down next to her, and she's talking for a little bit. And I'm like, are you Last Mom? And she's like, yes, because she had introduced herself as herself, which I knew that they were one and the same because she has a couple different blogs.
Right.
But I'm like, I just have to tell you, I mean, like, I literally have read her blogs before and cried because I have felt so much compassion for this poor child, you know, and then I'm, like, happy for her that she's doing as well as she is. And she's like, I can't believe that, you know, like, that's so amazing. Thank you. But I'm like, but it's true. Like, I have literally sat in my car and cried for this kid. So.
And you know what? I think you just kind of hit on what I know myself as a blogger. Like, to ever get to that point where someone looked at me and said, I've read you from day one.
Right.
And thank you so much. That means so much. You just have no idea. Like, to me, I think that's the echelon that you could hit.
Right.
Being a blogger. I don't know about you, but.
And she ended up being a pretty awesome person.
Yeah.
In real life too.
That's
so
awesome.
Everybody really was. It's a great group of women and gentlemen. I'm sorry. I don't mean to, you know, exclude the dudes. So, but it was really a great group of people and I had a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I have to be completely honest. It was on Disney property and that was just amazing in itself.
Oh, yeah.
I've never stayed on site. For as many times as we've been there, I've never stayed on site. The hotel was gorgeous. All of our needs were just met. Before we even knew that they were needs, they were met.
That's awesome.
And it was really nice. And I had a good time. It was, I don't get away very often from real life. And so it kind of, Matt's going to cringe when he hears this, but it really opened my eyes to the fact that, shit, I haven't been taking care of myself. I should probably, not like I need to do it every weekend, but this should happen more often.
Yeah, I agree. I think absolutely.
And I'm going to be pushing and say it needs to happen to you more often too. Like, I think,
Oh, yeah. We all.
Which that's life. Life happens and it gets away from you before you really even know it. And then you're like, wait a minute, this is the first time I've been by myself. And day to day, yes, you drop them off at school and you're by yourself. But like at night, and I was a pretty big loser. Like, I thought, oh, I'm by myself, I'm going to go crazy. No, my butt was in bed by 10:30 every night.
Yeah.
Well, minus, you know, the last night when I was actually at the park playing. But still, like, just that downtime where I was not needed by anybody. So.
Right. No, I agree. And we've talked about that before. But, yeah.
And I definitely came back from it feeling refreshed. And, like, there has to be more effort to make this happen more often.
Absolutely. Me time
doesn't have
is
to
very
happen
important.
a lot, but it needs to happen.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah. That is huge. Learning to say, and I've definitely been doing more of saying no lately.
Right.
You know. So, like I said, when you say no to things, you say yes to me.
So, yeah, that was great. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. I'm going to try
Which hopefully will be in February. She knows. She's looking at me like, don't you dare say it.
I really want to go. That one's a podcaster.
Yeah, that's a Podfest, and it looks like it's going to be amazing. So
yeah. So hopefully we can both go to that one. We'll see.
If we play our cards right.
Yeah. So
we probably should kind of plan on how we would play our cards right, not just say if we play our cards right.
Yes. As someone I read once, and I've read it actually more than once if I think about it, where they say visualize the end and then work backwards from that. So like if you visualize,
this is what I want,
yes,
and then plan how to get there
to make it happen.
That's
instead
a great
of
plan.
saying, "Oh, I want to do that," just pretend you've already done it or you are doing that, and how do I get there?
Like, it's not even an option. Like, this is what's going to happen.
Right. How do I make it work?
Right.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. So.
Anything else?
Daily tip from the guru here.
Look at you.
No, nothing. Nothing else. I don't know. I don't know. Time goes by so quick during the week.
Right.
To sound silly, it all kind of just runs together.
Right.
I mean, I don't know about you, but
well, look how quickly last week went to hell in a handbasket fairly quickly for us. Like, we met on Tuesday and we're like, okay, we're going to record on Thursday.
Yes.
Thursday you had an emergency, and then Friday I was just so sick.
Yes. So the little thing we put on Facebook about, you know, we were going to surprise you guys with a video didn't happen, but we did record it today,
Right.
so you will get
It's
to
going to
see
go
it.
up today.
Yes.
Well, actually, it'll be up by this. I'm going to put this up. It's Monday and we're recording. It'll go out today, as in Monday.
And we're going to try to filter it as much as we can so that you don't have to be subjected to, really looking at us. But sorry, people.
I don't know. Yeah. It's fine. We've made worse video.
This video is why we do podcasting. Let's just say that. Because we have talked at times of doing YouTube videos
Right.
for the podcast. But the reality of it is, that is some scary ass shit. It's like literally people would see you.
Right.
I don't know that the world is ready for that. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Are you?
I just don't understand why the camera has to be so darn close. All right. Well, let's get started on this week. What's our topic?
A day in the life.
A day in the life.
And it could be anything you insert there, but it's really for us. So it's a day in the life of a blogger / podcaster / mom. And oh hell, we do it all.
Right.
So, or we don't. We drop a lot of balls.
We do drop a lot of balls.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah. So, I get a lot of when people are like, so what do you do? Which I don't think people ask that question to be malicious, but sometimes when they say that to you, you're like, I'm a mom,
Right.
But also like, so now it's, well, I do a blog and I do a podcast. Oh, what is that? What do you do?
Right.
So you always have to kind of like, this is what I do. Like on a daily basis, this is what I do. And I
Right.
don't know what it is for you. I think it's pretty similar. It kind of is never too far from your mind. Like you're looking for topics, you're looking for what to talk about.
Yeah. You're trying to gain, a following.
Right.
You're trying to figure out how to connect with your readers and your fans, your listeners, your friends. It's a daily struggle.
Right.
And it is. You're right. It's never that far. I had one day in the past probably 3 weeks that I did nothing
Right.
podcast or blog related. And that was last Friday. I cleaned my house. And it was weird because I realized at the end of the day, holy shit, I did not do anything.
Right.
Now,
And guess what? It survived.
it did. It did. But I will tell you that I know a lot of the really successful blogs and websites, they take a lot of work.
They do.
They do.
It is a full-time job.
Your level of participation equals your level of success. And
Right.
I try. But keeping that in mind, I also never want it to take away from what I do as a mom. Because
Right.
first and foremost, that's my job. And as my teenager informed me yesterday, I don't have a job. And,
Don't you wanna
wanna
not-
piss me
not-
off really quick and not eat food for a year? Just tell
not
that to your
I
mom.
encourage slapping a child, but when they say that to you, not her in particular, but any of them, like, doesn't that make you just kind of
Oh, it does.
makes you a little slappy, doesn't it?
It does. And my husband will actually step up and he'll say, "Are you kidding? She's a mom. That's what she wanted to do." Because my teenager actually said, "Well, you did you always want to be a mom? Is that what you wanted to be in high school?" And I said, "Actually, yeah." I said, career-wise, when I was in high school, if we're being honest, I wanted to be an attorney, which is the biggest crock of shit I've ever
Right.
thought in my entire life. But I always wanted to be a mom. Like, I had my kids' names picked out when I was in high school. I always knew I wanted to be a mom. And when I had kids, I just knew that's what my job was going to be.
Right.
And I have no problem. Like, no one will ever make me feel less than for being a mom and not working outside the home.
Right.
Hell no. That's my job. And it's a hard one. Not to discredit from working, not to discredit from being a stay-at-home mom, but that's my job. And I
Right.
love it. Like, I don't see any other,
And ultimately, not that I don't allow my kids to define me in every sense. However, the way that I raise my children will be my ultimate success story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Nothing
agree.
else that I do
Yep, I agree. Yeah.
will reach that level of importance to me
Right.
as making sure that they are not assholes when they're adults.
Productive members of society.
I want them to be productive, happy
Yes.
members of society.
I agree.
And whatever they choose to do, I need for them to be happy,
Yes.
well behaved.
Yep.
As in not mean people. Like, I don't want them to be sheep, but you know what I'm saying. though, like,
Absolutely. I want you to
yes.
be a decent human being so that when you walk in a room, people don't turn away
Right,
from you and
right.
say, oh, Jesus, there's the asshole. I don't,
Right.
let's go find somebody else to talk to.
You don't need to make $1 million
Right.
for me to consider you
Right. And
successful.
that's what I tell my daughter all the time. Because, she is on the cusp of trying to figure out, maybe
Right.
what she wants to do for the rest of her life. And I tell her all the time, I just want you, you need to learn to do what makes you happy. Money does not make you happy,
My dad always said something along the lines of, you could be a doctor, you could be a garbage man, but you will be the best that you can be at what you do.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. So, yeah, that is,
It always makes me laugh when, like, I don't get that too much yet, but mine are still, it's coming, I'm sure.
Maybe not.
Even with the sweetest kids, which she is as well. She's ultimately a very good girl.
One day out of the year.
Stop.
Christmas. Oh, wait, 2. Her birthday.
Yeah, but there's presents there. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But when they say things like that, and they all eventually do, I think we've all said things like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, as a parent or the caregiver, you want to take a step back and be like, you need to learn how much work I do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's
And
horrible.
when you're not being fed, when I'm not running your shit to the school because you forgot it, when I'm not taking you here and there, when you don't have clean clothes, when you don't have electricity and a roof over your head and all this other stuff, tell me again how I don't have a job.
Ironically, it almost makes you want to go on strike and not do it for
Exactly.
like a day. I think one day would probably be enough
Right.
to see what all we do.
Right.
Or what all I do. So, yeah.
My mom did that once. My brother, she was making something that he didn't like, and he said, "You're fired." And she's like, "You know what? Fine." And it was a couple of days where she did not take care of his knee. I mean, like, she didn't let him die, but, she ceased doing
Right.
more than the bare minimum.
Right. Absolutely. I know.
And I think every kid, I mean, honestly, it just sometimes you don't see it, so you just assume that things naturally
take
happen.
it for granted.
Right.
You just, you take it for granted.
I think as the person in that position, sometimes I take it for granted. Like, sometimes I need to be reminded that, holy crap, I do a lot. Like, day to day, I know I do because I'm exhausted at night. But if I really wrote it down, I think even I would be amazed at what I do.
Yeah. Well, I told
Do you ever think that? Like,
I have texted my husband before and told him, he said, well, what did you do today? Or what, and I would literally text, this long, all of the things that I did that day. And I would look at it thinking, holy shit, I did all of that in one day.
right.
Yeah, it's no wonder by 9:30 at night, I'm ready to go to bed.
Right.
It's exhausting. So, but I guess the point I was trying to make is on top of, being a blogger, podcaster, and a mom, are not on top of it, but it's a delicate balance.
The combination of the three is a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
It is. I have to say, I never realized how much time having a website, being a blogger,
Right.
would entail. I really didn't. And that's only if you want to be successful, which I do, which you do. I mean, my end result, let's just be honest, I would like to have some kind of recognition for it,
And I've taken my blog has not purposely, but purposely taken a little bit of a step back and put on the back burner, mostly because my kids recently have needed me a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you said, I don't ever want it to consume me so much that I'm not being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I have gotten to a point where they needed me a little bit more, just for a while. I think it is getting much better, so...
Well, and
yeah.
you go through periods like that.
Yes.
So, but it's golly, on a daily basis,
So it's kind of so what we do on a day-to-day basis is the looking for topics, looking for things. I take a ton of
research,
pictures,
oh my
which almost
gosh.
none of them ever make it on there, because then like 3 weeks later I'm like, oh my God, this would have been an excellent post, and it never happened. So I need to get better about that. But there's a lot of research involved. There's a lot of listening to other podcasts, reading other bloggers.
Absolutely. And I maybe me more so than you, but my website, it involves a lot of research at times.
Yes, yeah. Because a lot of
um,
mine ends up being feelings and
Yeah.
things that happen versus yours is data. Like,
yeah,
you
well,
need-
and I try
right.
to have a happy mix.
Right.
That's why I eliminated my, that's why I combined my two websites.
Right.
Like I wanted to do the, the more personal, pull at your heartstrings kind of post mixed in with the food related
Right.
post. But it's so much research. Holy cow, but
And I think honestly, like, as mine grows and a couple of things that I have in the works, I'm going to have a little bit more of the research and like preparing things in advance versus a lot of my blog post. Well,
Spur
the
of the
Facebook
moment?
stuff, is spur of the moment, but you know this, like a lot of the things, the articles that I write,
Right. A lot of the posts
tend to be, they come to my head, I
Right.
sit down and poof, it's done.
Right.
So, not poof, like it still takes time, but I'm in the shower and I think something, and so I immediately get out, throw some clothes on, come down here, and I just
Right.
write it out before I even get any further.
And honestly, that's the way good writers
Right.
are. I mean, I agree. I totally am the same way. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But yeah, you're probably one of those people who write more when the mood strikes.
Yes.
Like, I know that a lot of us sit down to write, and if you're just not feeling it, if I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to sit there and just pretend and type something up
Right.
and hit post. That's why I don't know about you. I can't speak for you, but I'm not going to post, on a regular basis. It's
Right.
just not going to happen. I'm not just going to post just to post,
Which I think my social media game is very strong. I tend to be.
You're very
everyone
good at
knows me.
little
Like
one-liners, yeah.
And the funny thing is and I say this, and this is not information anyone really needs to know, but it's not personal either. But a lot of those, like, I could easily sit down and make it into something bigger, and I need to do that more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where now that things are calming down here at the house, and we're finding our groove a little bit more, that you're going to see more and more of that.
Yeah.
Where.
You elaborate on
right.
it. Yeah, I agree.
But so much of our stuff is just little shit that happens.
Oh, absolutely. Like just now, I had to leave. We had to pause
Oh
this
yeah,
podcast.
so we had to. We're talking about the day in the life of. We had to pause because my phone rang, which wasn't a big. I don't know. It was some telemarketer
Yeah,
probably.
right.
But then Heather happened to look over at her phone, and her daughter had texted her.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, she's selling some things on Let Go, and apparently the lady, when she told us that she was coming on her way home from work, I assumed, like the rest of the world, she meant
Right.
at like 5 o'clock tonight. Well, turns out she meant now. I don't know what she works, but so she had texted me and said the lady's on her way, and I was like, oh shit! So I literally said I gotta go, so I ran home.
So it
put the
literally took
shoes
like 3
out.
minutes. I
It
mean,
did.
luckily, yeah.
I know. I
Luckily, we
live
don't live very
close.
far away from each other.
But that's, you know what, and that right there in a nutshell is my day. It's constantly pulling me away from whatever it is I'm doing now.
Right.
I have a really hard time finishing things because I'm being pulled and distracted from what I'm trying to do.
I don't remember the last thing I actually finished.
I know. Like, seriously, I have so many balls up in
Right.
the air.
Right.
Huh, Janelle, you'd think that's funny.
Ha
But,
ha ha. She said balls.
But I inevitably I dropped some.
Right.
I really did. I dropped some last weekend. My husband came home. The laundry had not been washed. I had literally been
Yeah.
gone all week doing volunteering, stuff for the kids, and I did not do some of the things that need to be done. Like it is. I mean, so yeah, you do at home mom stuff, and then on top of that, you throw the blogging and the podcasting.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. Who are these people that are asking you what you're doing? My friends are not that nice and nosy.
Mine are just nosy.
Ah.
But no, like when you meet people and you talk to them, which is the difference, because I meet
No one
people.
ever asks me what I do.
Because you
I
don't
wanna know
fucking
where are
leave
you
your-
going.
You don't leave your house.
These people, are they standing in line at Kroger like, hey bitch, what do you do for a
I
living?
do talk to people at Kroger's. There's
that what
some
they
really,
say?
I know that's
Hey,
not
bitch, what do you
hey,
do?
bitch, what do you do? It's usually
Yeah.
like, ma'am.
Is that when you work in the poll? That's when they ask you what you're doing.
I wish I made that kind of money. No, yeah, usually at Kroger's is like, ma'am, can your son quit licking all the apples?
I never have anybody ask what I do. I must look like a loser just when I walk out of the house. Or I look like I'm a fly doing business. Someone does some business.
You did not just say that.
Business. How you spell that? Business. Business. Bidnass. We just gonna pretend.
Biznass.
Business. But I said business.
Business.
Yeah, Bidness. We're just gonna pretend that's a word. That's the word of the week, folks.
I need more coffee.
This is Sesame Street in the suburbs, bitches.
Are you done?
This is my comedy hour.
You're writing that down too,
I
aren't you?
am. I have to write these notes down because if you guys don't know, we have a little snippet, little kind of a
Laundry list.
we call it our laundry list, but we put it up on our website, and it also has a link to the show. But it's just kind of a little recap of some of the funny points.
I can't believe you just said that.
Sesame Street in the suburbs.
Bitches.
What? Did I make you lose your train of thought?
You totally did.
I did. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So on top of all of that, what we do ultimately is we're creative. We share information. We're on our phone all the time.
Why you laugh like that? That was kind of creepy what you just did.
I'm laughing because I was thinking back to the conference.
Like giggling.
And first of all, one of the women I met, we had like this closing party on the last night of the conference, which I had a day in between then and coming home for myself. But on the last night, we had this little party. It was awesome. We had a great time, but we're like all taking selfies. And she's like, only at a blogger party would this really be socially acceptable. And that was said so many different times at the conference because when people were in sessions and people are talking to you and everybody is on their phones.
It's perfectly acceptable.
And we'd be around the table eating and everybody's on the things that would not be socially acceptable in any other setting was totally fine.
Okay.
Because everybody was doing it because that's what we're constantly being active, responding to people, researching things, I have notes everywhere. I have notes on my phone. I have notes on a piece of paper in the house, in the kitchen, in the car. Because you just mentally oh, that's great.
Right. You're a blogger when you have to whip your phone out and take a picture of the food that you're cooking.
Yes.
Is kind of it.
Yeah.
Sewn up.
Don't touch that until I take a picture of it.
And I don't know how many times I've said that. Even though I've not posted a ton of food recipes, but when I did, inevitably, I said, don't touch it. I'm taking a picture. Like, don't eat one of those. Don't play with that. Don't whatever with that, Yeah.
Don't play with that. Yeah. I say don't play with that a lot. It has nothing to do with food.
And she's talking to her husband. Sorry, Moose. Thank you for fixing the chair.
No, I literally tell the boys, quote unquote, don't play with that.
They're going to grow up and that's going to be their motto. One of them will come back with a back tattoo that says, don't play with that. And that'll be literal. Because, on their back.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we didn't really talk about. I'm trying to keep us on track, and she's, going off on. What we didn't talk about was a topic that has come up several times, not just between us, but there's been articles online. There's a couple of the podcasts that we listen to, is what amazing trendsetters we are.
Yeah, who knew? I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't really know.
Really think about
I didn't know we were that small of a group.
Right. So podcasting alone is a fairly small group. Mm-hmm. iTunes states that on any given day they have 250 podcasts listed.
New? Listed? What do you mean?
Just, there are 250,000 podcasts in their library.
Okay.
Now, other reports are stating more along the lines of 180,000 active podcasts. So that's the ones that are still contributing to it.
Okay.
Versus bloggers.
There's probably millions.
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah, which you can see why it's so hard to make a difference in the world.
Which, I mean, some of that comes down to the fact that it is great to have that recognition, but sometimes it is the point where I do this because it makes me feel good.
Yeah, because it is so saturated. I agree.
I can never hope for anything huge.
Right.
If it happens, that would be great, but I do it because it's an outlet for me.
Right.
But the podcast thing, we're accidental trendsetters. I mean, that's just women in podcasting. It's very small. I listened to a gentleman at the conference, and he was saying that for every 2,000 bloggers, there's one podcaster.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
So that's how different those two. Podcasting is essentially a little bit newer. Honestly, not too terribly new compared to blogging, but enough. And it's growing.
What percentage are we of?
We are. Well, I'm not sure what the percentage is.
Okay.
It's very small though.
That makes me really proud.
Yeah.
I knew we were the shit.
We are the shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I told my husband that the other day when you texted me something about being whatever trendsetter or whatever, and I told him, I said, you don't grasp the reality of like literally what I just said.
Right.
We're like this
a
tiny,
very
tiny
small group of people
Yeah.
in a fairly small
yeah.
but big world.
And
You
it's
know,
amazing
right.
to be there
Right.
because you know you kind of.
Now those numbers are growing, and I'm not sure they're not accurate on any given day, but that's the kind of give you the concept of where we stand. So
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you noticed, but like on our Instagram page, I've started putting the little hashtag because we're part of She Podcast.
yes,
And I started putting the hashtag She Podcast because originally I was putting podcast moms. Well, it turns out we and one other person on Instagram were podcast moms.
Right.
So that just shows you that the hashtag was so small at that time, and it still is. There's only 2 of us out there.
Right.
So,
but I think it's going to grow.
yeah, absolutely.
Because more and more people are learning what they are, more and more people are listening to them.
Right.
I think that we're right on the edge of podcasts being something bigger.
And it's crazy
already,
because podcasts have been around for a long time.
Right, yep, 2004.
NPR's been doing them for a very long time. I don't know about you, but I can honestly say, and you probably as well, that I have people that listen now that never even knew what a podcast was before we started.
I agree.
Like, I know my mom didn't know.
Right.
Janelle, I don't know if Janelle knew or not, but I think that's pretty impressive.
Right.
You know, you bring in new listeners who didn't even know what a podcast was. I'm telling you, I didn't even know what the hell a podcast was when we started this.
Yeah, you were just like, we should do this.
I'm like, I like to talk, you like to talk, we're funny bitches, let's do it. Hey. We really need to change the name of our podcast to Sesame Street in the Suburbs, bitches. I'm telling you. I can't stop looking at that. It's probably trademarked.
Probably,
There's
I'm
probably someone out
sure.
there who
I'm
already
sure.
has it. That is amazing.
So
I like
yeah,
that
that's
we are.
the other. You know, I always try to do a little bit of research, and that was and it's
Like
you
that.
know, and it's really the whole concept of podcasting. I think is on the verge of something really, really huge.
Yeah, well, we're a nation of let's multitask and do like 25 things at
Right.
once, and you can. Like this morning, I was getting a shower, getting ready, and listened to the podcast. I usually listen to music, but I thought, you know, let me listen to a couple of podcasts, and there are some really cool ones out there.
Oh, yeah.
There's some really neat ones out there. So I want to give a shout out to Sip and Shine. They're
She
a
loves
podcast.
giving
She's
shout-outs.
super nice. I do like giving a shout out. So if you want to have a shout out, find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter. But she's super nice. I like her. So, but yeah. So I'm glad we're trendsetters. I always knew I was cool. It just took me X amount of years to get there, and I won't say how many X amount of years. It's definitely double digits.
I know.
We'll stop there.
No.
Times like 1,200 or something. I don't even know. Divided by 3.
So yeah, where else are we going with that?
I guess that's it.
That was it for me. Do you have any other information? What is for you?
You know, I was a weirdo. Every time we sit down, or every time we say this is what we're going to talk about, you and I have totally different visions of notes when we take notes. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. But I literally went hourly, like what I do. Because when you say a day in the life, what do you do? But I don't know, I'm a weirdo. I'm up at 5, and then by the time I get the kids out the door at 8, from 8 to 2 is pretty much a mix of, run errands, volunteering at the school, things you like to do with your friends every once in a while, laundry, and then you throw in the millions of things you do for blogging and podcasting.
You have to fit in all the constant tracking what happens.
You got to surf the social media. You check check your stats.
Responding.
You post stuff because heaven forbid you fall off the radar.
Right.
Look for sponsor ops. Check your email. Work on a post. Research. Write. Take pictures. It goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And then by the time 3:30 rolls around, you revert back to mommy. So, and then let's just be honest, when they go to bed, I get back on my phone and try to, pen things in hopes that, you're growing your pinners. I mean, it's a never-ending quest to grow your audience.
Right.
I think to me that's what it boils down to in the beginning. And maybe long-term, I don't know. But I find that's the biggest thing. For me, anyway, right now.
Right.
So... So yeah, it's a daily game of like me.
It kind of, a little bit of it is that. And that's why I struggle with that a lot because it always seems like, and I always joke, I'm like, here's my monthly reminder that, check us out.
Mm-hmm.
I always happen to write that on my personal page just because and occasionally people are like, I hadn't realized that yet. So, but I try not to do too much on there, but it is a constant game of like me.
It is. It's almost like high school again.
It's very weird.
It's like vote for me for homecoming queen.
Yeah.
It is. I know. And it is weird, but I guess that's just the game and we have to play it if we want to stay in it, right?
So like us.
Yes, like us.
We're cool. We're awesome.
We really are.
We're not.
We really are.
Oh, I had more coffee. I put it off to the side and forgot. Oh, it's cold. That's so gross.
You sound like Darth Vader. All right. Well, I guess that's it for this week, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to wrap it up.
Let's talk about the blogs real quick.
Okay. Yep. You can find us. I am OneFedUpMommy and .com, obviously. And I have all the appropriate social media sites. And Copper is neverdrinkfrommommiescup.com.
And I have all the appropriate media sites.
She also has all the appropriate handles.
You can also...
Why does everything I say today come out dirty? You got all the appropriate handles.
Man, some of the stuff before we got to the point of recording, man, that we can never put that stuff on though. Yeah.
So, and we also as well.
Sorry, you guys can never know what we're laughing at.
Yeah, no. But you can also find us,
right.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. We have a Pinterest board. And we have a website, so.
And yeah. So
share with your friends, please. Like us, share, comment, all of that. It helps us become, more of a mover and a shaker. And that's always a good thing. So
I shake naturally.
So we will definitely give you all a shout out if you can help us. So, and I like to shout out.
She does love to shout out as much as she loves to tweet.
Oh my God, that twat.
She loves it. She loves it. She loves it. Loves it.
They
loves
should call
it.
it twit shit.
You
that's about what it is.
You don't like it, but man,
it's that Twitter. She's a twat. End of discussion about Twitter. I don't like it.
All right, so just a reminder to let us know if there's anything from like the holiday season coming up that you like. We're working on that episode for December. And you
can even hashtag it, these are a few of our favorite things. So yeah, let us know. Post on our wall. That's all you gotta do. Or tag us on Twitter.
Or yell it to us in the car line.
Yes. Cool deal.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, everyone have a great week and we'll see you back here next week.
Bye guys.
Bye.